10 of the best stocks to watch next week. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. I got the hoodie to prove that fact, but I do want to make some money. So in today's video, I want to go through 10 companies that I will be keeping a particularly close eye on as of next week. There are a lot of my usuals in there. I think a lot of the companies I really love are around price ranges I'm going to be very happy to buy. So I am getting very excited right now. I'm going to tell you off the bat, the majority of today's video is actually going to revolve around EV stocks and the FANG stocks. There is one or two other things towards the end of the video, but that's what we're going to speak about predominantly in today's. But exciting week coming up, guys. Pretty much guaranteed we're going to find out the outcome of the US election. More than likely we're going to see some big swings in some of our favorite companies, and I'm just excited to make some money, baby. The first company we're starting off with today is Nio, who just so happens to be the first company I ever went up 200% in, baby. Initially bought these guys all the way back at $12. I now have a high $13 cost basis. It's juicy. Right before we get into Nio, if you're interested, please hit the first link in the description if you want to sign up to become a member of my Patreon. You will get loads of juicy benefits. You will get access to my buy and sell alerts in real time, the prices I'm buying at, how many shares I bought. You'll get access to over 30 private channels where we speak about everything to do with stocks. Also, can I please ask you guys to hit that juicy like button nice and early, help your boy do well with the YouTube algorithm. And if you are new around here, hit that juicy red subscribe button, drop me a comment down below, and without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. So the very first company of today, I mean, the hot stock on the block right now, it's Nio, baby. Look at that 6-month chart. That's disgusting. 363 6 months ago. Ooh, over 1,000%. If I had have just bought these guys 2 months earlier, I would be up nearly 1,000%. That is insane. So of course I want to keep a very close eye on these guys. I think they have gone up so quickly because a lot of people are starting to think that Biden is going to win. And that's good for Nio more so than some of the other EV companies, because everybody obviously knows that Biden is for clean energy, electric vehicles, infrastructure, etc. But I think a lot of people also expect US-Chinese tensions to come down if Biden ends up being the president. So what I want to say is, just as fast as it's gone up, I do believe it can come back down if things don't go the way that people want it to. Now when I say that, I mean in the short term. I think we could see massive volatility in the short term. Now that could just continue going up and up and up, but I want to be ready for both scenarios. There's been nothing but bulls in regards to Nios lately. You're probably aware of this at this stage. I covered it in my last Nio video briefly. Citi's calls on Nio. So Citi analysts lift their TICE target all the way up to 46.40 from 33.20, and I mean they're not too far away now at all, are they? In general, these are 12-month price targets as well, so that only represents what, maybe 15% upside. I don't think anybody expects Nio to move 15% up in 12 months. So I did make a full video on these guys recently if you do want to check that out. But basically, here's some points of interest for me. The first one here, there's a little gap. I believe if we're to see a decent pullback, we could find our way back down to around, $31 or so. That's if market sentiment changes. That's if we go back into a bear market. That's if, all of the broader markets start to go red. This is the price point I will be looking at personally. Now, that may not happen next week. It may not happen in a month. It may never happen. Hopefully it doesn't, and we just keep going up forever. That's the first real place I am looking at. And then the other one is down here. There is a considerable gap somewhere around the 21.50 mark all the way up to the 23.50 mark. So look, I don't think we're going to be going there anytime very soon, but there are numbers to keep in mind. Let's keep in mind a lot of the EV market is quite bullish right now, and Nio did actually have a little bit of a red day on Friday. But I mean, considering all that green, it's not really much, baby, is it? That 6-month chart's beautiful. We do in general go through these long pages of consolidation before a boom. We haven't even started the consolidation yet, so I'm very interested to see what happens. If we do look at some of these previous runs to the upside, okay, we can see that in general, we do see a considerable dip. So here was a 25% one. Here we had about a 16.7% one. Here, there was about, let's say, 10%. All we've seen so far is 1.7%, and this is after an amazingly big run-up, so we'll have to see what happens. But, of course, Nio is very high up there on the list of stocks to watch for me. Workhorse, okay, very obvious reasons why I'm watching these guys next week. Third quarter earnings come out while the market is open on Monday, November 9th. This is going to be an insane day in my opinion. Now, I personally am excited for it. I don't know if I should be, because I could see this going either way very quickly for this company. And I don't think it's going to be a particularly good earnings. I don't think we'll have delivered the most vehicles in the world, but I am very excited to get some updates. I want to know, are we delivering vehicles? Are we at least producing vehicles? Are all of the new staff trained in yet? What's happening? I just want some answers, baby. So of course I'm going to keep an eye on these guys next week, Monday in particular, and then Friday there also is a meeting for the USPS governors. So we'll see if anything comes out of that in regards to the USPS contract, but as I said in my last video on Workhorse, I don't believe that will be the case. But at current prices, most certainly worth watching in my opinion. And again, if you want some prices to watch, this is kind of where I'm sitting at with Workhorse. Obviously we've this massive resistance down around the $15 mark. I mean, if you guys have been in here for a while, you'll remember us trading here for a very long time. And then we want to see ourselves pushing above $19 to $20 in my personal opinion to see us go considerably higher. But that's Workhorse, I don't need to get too in depth. I have loads of videos on those bad boys. Okay, here is one I haven't spoken about in so long, baby. So Hyliion, have we found the bottom? Is it actually going to start going up relatively soon? We hit 18.67 a share, we went back up all the way to about 23.50, and now we're at about 22.50. Up a little bit in the after hours, which is weird, but I won't worry about that. We need some news, baby. We need Thomas Healy to give us something. Hyliion is my smallest EV position. I never sold any when we were in the 50s. I never bought any more when we dipped below the 20s. I'm just kind of sitting on those shares because I need to see something happen. I need to know, am I holding this company for a long time or am I going to sell? Thomas, give me something. I kind of just let these guys do their thing for a while, but now it's getting to a stage where, you know, I need to see something happen, or else I think I can put my money to work better elsewhere. Okay, Lordstown Motors, right, we've actually had a good few days. So we bottomed out at around $13 a share. Since then, we've gone back up over 36% in value, which is quite nice to see. I did buy 90 more share of these guys down at $14.40 a share. I now have a total of 300. I'm in the green a little bit, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8%. But let's just remember, guys, on that 6-month chart, we do have previous all-time highs of 31.40. So we are still down absolutely massively from those highs. And we have to go up, you know, pretty much, what, 85-ish% in order to get back to those highs. So yes, this run-up is nice, but in the grand scheme of things, I think we need to go up a whole lot higher. Now, I love Lordstown Motors, and I have an awful lot of confidence in this company. What I'm hoping for by the end of the year is another update on pre-orders and timelines. Are these vehicles actually going to be sold and delivered, you know, by the start of the second half of next year? Is that still a realistic timeline? Is the factory all set up? I've been told that it is, or it's in the process, it's right on track. Are all of the new staff going to be trained in adequately on time? I want an update on pre-orders. I want to know, you know, are we still at 40,000? Are we 50,000? Maybe 60,000? But aside from that, what I'm watching them right now is I think the EV market has begun to make this shift back up to bullish movements. And we've seen the volatility with Lordstown Motors. We've seen how they react in bull markets before. I mean, if you remember this time here, if you're like me, you were in from day one. There was barely any red days whatsoever. We've seen it make big moves up and down now at this stage, so hopefully we can get back to those big moves up. And again, price targets, I can't say I have any particular price targets. I mean, yeah, I bought at the 1440s. I suppose $13 or so is an interesting price point, but I don't really think we're going to be hitting that again. Now, of course, that's if the market goes the way I expect it to. If it turns around and goes bearish, of course we could hit that. And then the final EV company I want to speak about is actually Switchback Energy, okay? Chargepoint. I made a video on these guys a day or two ago, and boom, it was good. It was good time. I picked up a few more shares, and we ended up going up nicely, almost 10% at one stage the next day, and we still closed the day up over 5%, so very good. So again, Chargepoint, Biden, his $2 trillion spending on green infrastructure, it makes a lot of sense. It could be a massive catalyst for the EV market as a whole, but particularly for a Chargepoint, for a charging infrastructure electric vehicle company. And regardless, I think this is going to be the future. I think instead of, you know, going to the gas station, filling your vehicle up with petrol, you're going to go to the gas station and you're going to fill it up with electricity. It's not really going to be the gas station, but you get the picture, baby. So yeah, I bought more of these guys. I think it was like at $15.15 a share. I still don't have a full position built yet because I do still think in the short term this is very speculative, and I do think anything could happen. Of course, it is a SPAC. We've seen SPACs crash after the merger goes through many times in the last couple of months. So as of right now, I have 150 shares. I would like to build a position of anywhere from kind of 300 to 500 shares total. So, you know, I'm just building it slowly so that regardless of what happens next, I'm in a decent position. So they're the EV companies, right? And I just want to give a little bit of a broader update on EV. A lot of people are asking me, though, I think it's better if Trump or Biden wins. Look, guys, people who want to be the president promise a lot of things. When I was investing in EV all this time, it wasn't in anticipation of one person becoming president. It's because I believe this industry is inevitable and it is the future. I know in the short term who becomes president may decide what happens to our portfolios. It may lead them down a little bit lower or up a little bit higher in the short term. But ultimately, in the long term, the president isn't going to have complete effect on these companies. They're the future. They're inevitable. In my opinion, they're going up one way or the other at some stage. All of the EV plays for me are long-term holds. I mean, that's why I haven't sold them. That's why I didn't sell any of my Nio at 200%, or any of my Hyliion at 175%, or any of my Workhorse when it was 100%, or any of my Lordstown motors when it was 100%, because they're long-term holds for me. You know, that really is as simple as it is. And that's why I don't get too stressed out by the short-term volatility, and that's why I'm not going to be too stressed out regardless of what happens with this election. If it means that my portfolio is 10% in the red, it's alright. In 5 years, it'll be hundreds of percent in the green and I'll be happy. That's just a really quick thing I wanted to say on that. Now, I want to speak about some of the FANG stocks, because finally we've started to see some moves being made. Google 5-day chart, earnings came out, and boom, they made an actual nice move. So on the weekly chart, they're up over 8%, which for Google is fantastic. Let me show you that 6-month chart. It's been slow. It's been slow. Before that 8% move, we were up about 10% on the 6-month chart. Look at this. 10%, move up to the upside, 28.5%. That Q3 was what Google needed, and finally, I'm so happy that this happened for the company. I think it's going to give a lot more people a lot more confidence to start buying these guys again, because for a long time it was just so slow, it was so boring. That's pretty much the only reason this move happened in my opinion, guys, the Q3 earnings being good, which is contrast to some of the other FANG stocks. Now look, I won't lie, Google still isn't really one of my favorite FANG stocks or one of my favorite big tech stocks. I just think Facebook, Amazon and Apple, even Microsoft have bigger growth potential, but I still do like them, and I do think they'll always have a small percentage of my portfolio. But Google ad sales delivered a big earnings beat, which is obviously fantastic, and this was the first ad revenue gain this year for Google. I tell you, they're not giving it to me. YouTube ad rates are down, baby. So they reported third quarter net income of 11.25 billion or 16.40 a share, compared with 7.06 billion or 10.12 a share in the year ago period. Beautiful by Google. And just like that, we're at all-time highs again. And look, Google isn't really a company I would necessarily try to time. You know, if you're going to hold these guys for a long time, every time there's a 10-15% dip, it's probably going to be an okay time to buy. We can see the last year or so, obviously there's been some more volatility. Obviously there was the big market crash. There's been some dips here and there. This one coming up to earnings, they're somewhat few and far between. But I mean, the thing is, right, if you were looking at Google here at 1265 and you decided you wanted to wait for the next big crash, you would have looked here and maybe you would have saw this 11% and ended up buying at 1500 anyway. That's why I treat the FANGs differently to my growth stocks, my small market cap companies. I'm just happy to chip away at them every now and again, somewhat regardless of price, because I believe in 5 to 10 years they'll be doing okay. Facebook stock, okay, 5-day chart. Not too different to Google in all fairness, up 10.9%, and this is very, very nice to see. It's nice looking at all my FANG stocks and seeing them decently in the green again. So Facebook's 6-month chart, this is a somewhat different story than Google. We're up nearly 40%, but you do see that similar sell-off we saw on Google. So I think I initially bought Facebook at 190-ish, just before 200, and I've bought, you know, a few times on the way up. But it just does go to show, you know, you can just dollar cost average with a company like this. And again, these guys saw their revenue and earnings per share rise by 22 and 28% respectively in the third quarter. It's beautiful really, isn't it? And the growth in digital ad sales are projected to exceed 517 billion by 2023, up from 333 billion in 2019. It's just very clear to see why you may be happy to buy these guys every now and again, little bits and pieces. Apple, 6-month chart, okay, still up 56.29%. They were up as much as 73%. Remember this when it was pre-split, okay? We had this nice initial run up, we kept going up, the split happened, and boom, we saw this sell-off. And it's been a little bit weird since then. Apple hasn't really chosen a direction. It's just been trading up and down. I mean, it's been fair. It's been during really weird market conditions, but still. A lot of things going for Apple right now. First, let's speak about the new iPhone. Let's speak about 5G chips. Let's speak about the fact they always have a new product coming out every month or two. They have extremely loyal customers. It's another one, guys. I don't care what happens to Apple this month. What I do want to see is if there's any big swings here next week. With elections and everything, who knows what's going to happen as well. 5-day chart, Apple had an okay one. We were up about 8.6% on the week, which, don't get me wrong, that's obviously very good, but compared to Facebook, etc., it's a little bit underperforming right now. But again, look at that 5-year chart, guys. Just some beautiful growth, 322%. Again, not many major dips. It's one I'm just going to nibble on. Okay, and the next one is Amazon stock, okay? And this is one that I am genuinely quite excited about as of this moment in time. I think Amazon is primed to grow. Amazon Prime. 6 months out, okay, we're up about 40% or so. Is decent, you know, it's beating some of the peers, losing to some of the peers. 5-year chart, 415%. I just think Amazon is in such a beautiful position to grow, no matter what happens with the presidency, no matter what happens with the Roni, no matter what happens in the world. Amazon is a giant, and it's something that more and more people are using literally on a weekly basis, and they're just in prime position to essentially dominate the entirety of online sales. This one here is just a common sense one. I mean, how many of you guys use Amazon on a daily basis? Maybe not a daily basis, but you know what I mean. I do. I had an Amazon delivery yesterday. I'm having one today. I have one coming tomorrow, baby. I use them a lot for little bits and pieces. When I have to get my new SD card, order it off Amazon. Have to get a new tripod, have to get a microphone, I order it off Amazon. So again, Amazon's ones who I don't necessarily want to try and time the market, but if ever we saw sub 3,000, I'd definitely be happy to buy some. Potentially a decent amount. Alright, to be honest guys, I don't really have much to say about this one. I don't plan on buying it, but I did just have to bring it up. Look at that 5-day chart, my friends. Oh my days. So this is obviously in, you know, hopes that Biden is going to win and go easy on some of the legislative issues surrounding this plant. The only reason I'm really including these guys, I know it's weird because it's 10 best stocks to watch next week. I'm not interested in this company, nor any of the other MJ companies as of this moment in time. Now, I do understand I could miss out absolutely hugely. I don't know enough about the industry, and I'm not willing to learn enough about the industry. I have more than enough industries to take up my time as it is. And I mean, just look back on that 5-year chart. It's horrible. Up until literally yesterday, this company was down 21% on the 5-year chart. But to make matters worse, there was a stage where they were up over 2,000%. I mean, guys, this isn't even a speculative growth stock to me. This is just, I don't even know what to call this. I understand we could get short-term pops because of Biden, etc. And maybe this is something for swing traders and day traders. It's not something for me as a long-term investor. But whenever you see 55% in a day, it's going to pique your interest. What I will say, guys, is remember this move back from May when they went up pretty much 190% in a matter of a week? It literally just went down since then. Over 80% pretty much to the very bottoms. We've seen this before. This move is actually nothing compared to this move. How many people got caught in this bull trap? How many people bought here and here and here and here and here? A lot, guys. So just keep that in mind. Don't invest off the hype. If you're interested in the company, that's fair enough. Just make sure you've done your research and you've done your due diligence. But my friends, boom! That is pretty much it. I have my eyes very closely looking into those EV companies and the FANG stocks in particular. I really do think there is a lot of money to be made over these next few months, but more importantly over these next 5 years or so. Again, if you are interested, please hit that first link in the description and sign up to become a Patreon. I'm going to be putting some price targets in there for some of my favourite companies soon. Price targets that I will be willing to buy more at, essentially. And you'll know if I do pick any of them up. So there's lots of juicy information there. Trust your boy. If you enjoyed the video, took some value from it, please hit that like button and drop me a comment down below. And of course, feel free to subscribe if you're new around here, my friend. And if you have watched this video all the way until the end, you, my friend, are a true legend, and I appreciate you being here from the bottom of my heart. Your support means the world to me. But anyway, my friends, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. I hope next week treats us all well, one way or the other in the market. I will see you for another video very soon. Peace.